Right now. Stop whatever you're doing. Just for a moment. Because what I'm about to tell you, it's not a story about someone else. It's about you. The version of you that goes quiet at 2 a.m. The version that smiles during the day. But feels something heavy sitting right here, in the chest. You know that feeling? Yeah. I thought so. Let me tell you about a guy named Daniel. 32 years old. Lives in a decent apartment. Has a job. Has a phone full of contacts. Has all the things people say you're supposed to have. But Daniel. He was tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. The kind that follows you into morning. The kind that sits with you in traffic. The kind that whispers, "You're behind. You're not enough. Everyone else is moving forward. What happened to you?" Daniel didn't grow up in poverty. He wasn't fighting some dramatic battle the world could see. His struggle was invisible. And that is the most dangerous kind. Here's the thing about the mind, nobody teaches you how to live inside it. We go to school. We learn history. We learn math. We learn how to drive a car. But nobody sits you down and says, "Hey, your mind is going to talk to you every single day of your life. And sometimes, it's gonna lie to you. And you need to know the difference." Nobody tells you that. So we grow up, just trusting every thought we have. Every fear. Every doubt. Every voice that says you can. We trust it like it's the truth. And that, right there, is where people lose. Daniel had a habit. Every morning, he'd wake up and the first thing he'd do was check his phone. Instagram. LinkedIn. Twitter. Other people's highlight reels. Other people's wins. Other people's lives, filtered, edited, packaged for consumption. And every morning, before his feet even touched the floor, his mind had already decided he was losing. You ever do that? Wake up. And before the day even starts, you're already behind? That's not motivation. That's mental poison. Slow. Daily. Invisible. One night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He's lying there in the dark. Ceiling above him. City noise outside. And his mind is just going. Replaying old conversations. Imagining future failures. Building arguments with people who weren't even in the room. And in that moment, something cracked open inside him. He thought, "I have been living inside a storm I created myself." Let me say that again. A storm. He created himself. Not the economy. Not his past. Not other people. His own mind, untrained, unchecked, running wild, had been the weather in his life. And he had been standing in the rain every day wondering why he was always wet. Hold on to. Think about a mirror. A dirty mirror. You stand in front of it and you think, "I look like this. This is who I am." But here's the thing, you're not looking at yourself. You're looking at the dirt on the glass. The fear. The old wounds. The things people said about you when you were young. The failures you never fully forgave yourself for. That's the dirt. And every single day, most people look in that mirror and believe what they see. They build their whole identity on a dirty reflection. Daniel sat up in the dark that night. And he asked himself one question, a question so simple it almost sounds too easy. He asked, "Is what I'm thinking actually true?" Not, "Is it possible?" Not, "Could it happen?" Is it actually true? Right now? In this moment? And the answer, almost every time, was no. He was afraid of things that hadn't happened. He was ashamed of things that were already over. He was comparing his insides to other people's outsides. None of it was real. All of it felt real. And that difference, that tiny gap between feels real and is real, that's where your freedom lies. He started small. Not some dramatic life overhaul. Not quitting his job. Not moving to a mountain. He just started watching his thoughts instead of being them. Like sitting by a river. Watching the water move. Not jumping in every time. Some mornings, the old thoughts came back. You're not good enough. You're too late. What's the point? And instead of arguing with them, or believing them, he'd just notice. Oh, there you are again. Like recognizing an old habit. An old guest. Someone you don't have to let run your house just because they knocked on the door. Weeks passed. Something quiet started to shift. Not loudly. Not like a movie scene where the music swells and everything changes overnight. More like the air getting cleaner, one breath at a time. He started waking up and not reaching for his phone first thing. He started sitting with his own thoughts before letting the world pour in. He started asking, what do I actually want, instead of just reacting to what everyone else seemed to want. And slowly, he began to feel like himself again. Not the self that was performing. Not the self that was keeping score. The real one. Quiet. Steady. Still there. Here's what Daniel figured out, and I want you to really hear this. Your mind is not your enemy. But an untrained mind becomes one. Left alone, without direction, without awareness, without intention, the mind defaults to fear, to comparison, to survival mode. Because that's what it was built for. Protection. Threat detection. Keeping you safe. But you're not being chased by lions anymore. The threats today are invisible. Social. Emotional. Internal. And your ancient, powerful mind is still firing like you're in danger, every day, when really, you're just sitting in a coffee shop scrolling through someone else's vacation photos. You have to teach it something different. You have to master it, before it mastering you becomes the whole story of your life. Because here's what happens when you don't. You wake up one day, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 20. And you look back. And you realize, the thing that stopped you was never really out there. No bad luck. No wrong timing. No person holding you back. It was the voice inside that you never questioned. The doubt you never challenged. The dirty mirror you never wiped clean. And that, folks, that is the saddest story I know. Not failure. Not loss. But a life lived at the mercy of a mind that was never mastered. So let me ask you something. What is your mind telling you right now? Right now. This moment. Is it telling you that you're too far behind? That it's too late? That people like you don't make it? Where did that voice come from? Is it yours, or is it something someone said to you once, that you just never put down? Because you have more power than you think. Not the dramatic kind. Not the overnight transformation kind. The quiet kind. The kind that shows up in the decision to pause before reacting. To question before believing. To choose, slowly, deliberately, what you let live in your head. That's the real work. Not the hustle. Not the grind. The inner work. The invisible work. The work nobody posts about. Mastering your mind. Daniel is still figuring it out. Some days are hard. The old thoughts still come. The storm still visits sometimes. But now, he knows he is not the storm. He is the one watching it. And there is a difference between a man drowning in rain and a man standing in it, steady, aware, grounded, knowing it will pass. That's not weakness. That's not ignoring reality. That is the highest form of strength a human being can develop. I want you to remember one thing from today. Just one. The mind you have right now, it is not the final version of you. It is a mirror. And mirrors can be cleaned. It is a storm. And storms always pass. It is a voice. And voices can be retrained. But none of that happens by accident. It happens by choice. Your choice. Every single morning you wake up, you get to choose what you feed. Fear or faith. Comparison or clarity. The noise outside, or the truth inside. Master your mind. Before life, with all its chaos, all its urgency, all its noise, masters you. Because you didn't come this far just to be lived by your own thoughts. You came here to live. If this reached something in you, something quiet, something real, share it with someone who needs to hear it tonight. And if you want more stories like this, the kind that don't just pass time, but change something, subscribe. We'll be here. Building something worth coming back to. Take care of your mind, folks. It's the only home you'll ever truly live in.